The first rule in grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport.
You're crushing pinch grip, thick bar, wrists.
If the best guy in the world can't lift 100 pounds on it, I don't give a shit about it.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Grip Show. And although this isn't a major interview, it is kind of a competition deal, but we're not recapping like amazing big competition results. It's not a debate of any kind or anything with topic discussions, but it is still probably one of the most watched videos every year, and it is one of the most anticipated things of every single year in grip, and that is the King Kong grip events reveal. So, Eric, you're joining me here. However you want to start, feel free.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So normally I've always revealed the events in January or early in the year. So although today we are in late December, we're filming this a couple of days early just because I'm going to be away for the first week of January and I didn't want to delay. I know people are going to start emailing me and contacting me. So let's just get this video out. So King Kong every year, a lot of thought. I have to really be careful as to which events I select. Because it does, I want to have a good balanced contest. I don't want it to get stale. I don't want it to be too expensive for promoters and athletes alike. So a lot goes into my thought process for this. So two events are changing this year. The first one is probably the biggest surprise. The King Kong 2026 will not feature the 2.25-inch crusher this year.
I had a feeling that was going to be it.
Yeah,
I mean, it was kind of surprised.
It's going to be.
It's been forever. Yeah.
We've had a crusher for many years, and who knows? I mean, it may very well come back eventually. But I thought just to switch things up a bit, and we're going to replace that with the wrist wrench, the 2 3/8 wrist wrench. You can get either the Arm Assassin version. He calls it an inch wrench, so just be very careful. It's the 2 3/8 inch wrench that Luke calls it, with the 3-hole attachment. So not the D-ring, but the 3-hole. And do not get the grip tape version. So it'll just be the finish. Whether it's bare steel or finish. You could also get the Nemesis Grips version. Same thing. It's called a wrist wrench 2 3/8 inch. It's the 3-hole attachment, and you can get raw steel or you can get the Nemesis finish. Those are all acceptable options. So if you're in Canada, you might want to go with Nemesis. If you're in the US, I mean, you have at least a few options to try and keep the cost down, whatever makes sense for you. I will be publishing a rules demonstration video because I know this is a new lift for many people, although it's been contested starting to be contested a bit more, but not everyone is familiar with the wrist wrench. It's not quite a thick bar. To me, it's a wrist event, but some people consider it thick bar. Some people consider it pinch. It's sort of in between, but really its roots are as an arm wrestling training device. And it really simulates having your wrists sort of peeled open. And to me, it's the best simulation of training to lift the inch to deal with that rotation. So get your wrist strong. So that is the first event. Second event, we're going to be bring back for the second year in a row. I'm keeping with the thumb blaster, the 1 5/8 inch thumb blaster. That was new last year, but the feedback I received by and large was positive. That's a relatively inexpensive implement. A lot of people just bought it for King Kong. They already have it. So that's going to be event number 2. Event number 3. So last year we did the Freestyle Hub, mixed reviews, and to be fair, it is quite similar to the to other vertical lifts, so it's not quite anyway. So I decided we're going to switch that out, and we're going to bring back the grab ball. Grab ball was featured in King Kong a few years in a row. So many promoters already have it. If you don't have it, it's still quite cheap. You can get that from Fat Bastard Barbell. And they're ready. They have some in stock. So it's a small little ball implement with a flange. So already been featured before, coming back. It's sort of a fingertip type exercise. And we are still going to be finishing it off with a little bighorn. I can't change everything every year, but I've changed
Mhm.
two of the four. Little bighorn is staying for this year. So, you know, wrist wrench is brand new for King Kong. It's not terribly expensive. If you have, if you've just purchased a crusher in the last year or two, you know, don't throw it away. It is very, you know, one of the most popular handles for a reason. And if I was to bring back a thick bar event, it likely would be that. But we're going to try and mix things up with the wrist wrench this year. There are lifts on the leaderboards, but there will be many more post King Kong. I'll pause. All of these are to 6 inches, so very simple to run. Do you have any initial reactions, Zach, to the events or any questions about the events? Because then I can get into other contest details.
Yeah, no, for me, Eric, I think it's good. And for anybody that's listening in, I heard this just now in real time. So I didn't already know what these events were coming into the episode. So as he was saying it to me just now, that's how I'm processing it. I was going to say when you said it was kind of surprised and you're taking something out, I'm like, it's got to be the Crusher because it's been contested so much.
Right,
I think the wrist wrench is a really good thing. It sort of falls into the same category as maybe last year, how the Thumb Blaster was. And I know that's still an event this year, but
right,
it's kind of that hybrid between, okay, there's a round bar on the Thumb Blaster, but then it's got kind of a flat finger pressure
right,
that's sort of a pinch, kind of a thick bar. It's a little bit of a hybrid lift,
right.
which a lot of these lifts are going to take more than one component of grip to be good at. But the wrist wrench is great. I think that the that diameter testing the wrist. I think there's a lot of people that that perform well on rolling handles that might not do as well on this as they would assume because it tests
Yeah,
something a little bit different.
it is
So
different. Yeah,
and I really like that aspect. And there's some that maybe will excel more, or maybe some that are kind of just where they're at on both, and they're pretty even. So I think that's a very just a wise selection. If you're going to replace the Crusher, something that's been such a staple in the event, I think something that's affordable, easily accessible. People making it, Canada, U.S., whatever. You have options, not expensive. I think that's a really good call. So first impressions on that, really good. And I'm looking at it more from a promoter outside the box perspective. I'm not saying, "Ooh, I'm good at that event," so I like that. I can see beyond that. There's a lot of lineups that I think are better for a competition that I'm worse at. You know what I
right,
mean? You could come up with an event lineup that I'm good at, and I could be like, "That's a shitty lineup for a contest." I might be
right,
good at it, but I differentiate that from, myself versus everybody. What works for the whole sport. Um, I think keeping the thumb blaster is good because it was kind of a new thing, and I really think that for whatever reason with the competitions and the scheduling, you know, I got the thumb blaster. I didn't train on it before King Kong. Just the way life was going, I didn't get a chance, and it is what it is. But I think with this another year coming back at it, people can really kind of hone in on technique, maybe improve their training from last year, and it'll just be another good year with another good sample size of lifts on that implement and not changing too much. So that's a good move in my mind because it was kind of a wild card last year. But if you
right,
switched it right out and replaced it, it's like, well, what was the point of that? So
right.
leaving it in, smart in my opinion. Um, and then moving on to what was the
Grab
next one,
ball,
Eric? Sorry,
grab ball.
grab ball. Okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now one of the first King Kongs I did had the grab ball, and we even used it for the Eastern Ohio Grip Challenge. We had the grab ball, brought it back, hadn't been done in a while. So um, I like that too because it's kind of a different lift. It's not you can't really put it into one category, and depending on how you grip it, someone might have a wider clamp, other people kind of pinch high and wrap their fingers. So it there's a lot of trial and error with the individual and how they're going to lift that, but it's not
Yeah.
limiting where it's like, hey, it's a 3-inch pinch block. You kind of just it's your hand size and you just kind of do what you would do on a pinch.
Right,
This has a little bit more room for technique, movement, and adjustments to be made. But it has been contested again, so everyone that's done this before in the past, assuming they didn't sell it, they still have it. So a lot of these are very affordable. very easy to get hands on, not expensive, and still test, the fingers, the wrist, the thumb, all components. And then Little Bighorn is kind of I don't say the standard for vertical lifts, but if we're not going to do a jug or 2-inch hilt, Little Bighorn is kind of that just old classic.
Right.
And with you changing a 4 event lineup and you've already changed 50% of the lineup, you
Right.
can only do so much. So yeah, you
Right.
don't want to go shifting too much. So these are all handles that people either have had in the past or can get easy access to. The pole height, in my opinion, is very good. Just 6-inch lifts across the
Yep.
board. So you're not
Yep.
doing a 7.5 for the flask. You're not doing you know, I know you don't do two-handed lifts in King Kong. It's primarily been, one hand,
Right.
but we're not doing lockout lifts. So judging should be very easy as far as just did it hit the crossbar, but then also the technique, hey, is their hand crossing the flange? Are they tilting, pinching? I
Right.
think that not having to worry about adjusting the height so much should allow the referees and promoters to hone in on the lifter's technique more
Right.
because you're not having to judge lockout. You are not even having to get down and change the height unless you're just kind of checking to make sure that it's staying
Right.
at 6 inches across the course of the event and stuff. So really, you can key in as a promoter and a referee judge. You can look at, are they taking a legal grip? Are they, riding a fine line of illegal? It just, I think, frees up people's eyes to kind of do more because they're not having to, oh, did they pause at the top? Did they do this? Is that the right height? It eliminates some of that maybe overthinking or takes attention away from certain aspects of the lift. And
Right.
although they are pulled to height, there's still a lot of things, rolling handles, hand on the frame, tilting too much. There's just things that judges need to be a little more focused on. And with this
Right.
lineup, I think it frees their eyes up and it frees their brains up to, efficiently judge and do that job. Not
Right.
not that people haven't in the past, but I'm just saying like it makes it a little bit easier in my opinion when you're not moving so much around, especially people that are competing, hosting, and judging. you know.
In terms of the rest of the details, so today I just wanted to get the events out. Like I said, I will be putting together a rules demonstration. I will be video. I will be reaching out to promoters. All that's going to come in the next couple of months. But I can tell you, I can tell everyone that all of the weight classes are the same this year. No changes, no additional weight classes. So whatever was featured last year will be featured again this year. From the promoter's perspective, in terms of if you're a promoter, all of the requirements same as last year. No changes. No changes to the fee structure. No changes to, any of that. The main contest date. So normally it's the last Saturday in October, except if the last Saturday is Halloween, which is the case in 2026. So the actual main date will be the 24th. I don't want to be dealing with this on the 31st. Halloween is not something big around the world, but it is in Canada at least, and I don't want to be worrying about King Kong stuff on Halloween. So the main contest date is the 24th of October, but promoters can choose to host the contest any time earlier in the month. So that's fine. In October is fine, but the last possible day is the 24th. And all the results need to be submitted by midnight on the 24th, so that I can post everything online on the 25th. But so hopefully this will be people will be happy to hear or at least know what the events are. Um, I'm not promising we'll be releasing this before January 1st going forward, but I don't think I'll ever be announcing it any earlier because it does give me a bit of time to think about weighing the pros and cons of each of that. And, I think it's also, I don't want to overwhelm the grip people in December when they're already overwhelmed with other other orders and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's it. Hopefully, if you've never done King Kong before, you want to try, you'll probably have a good chance of finding locations nearby. Last year, we were over 40 locations. I'm hoping for something similar or better this year. So yeah, if you want more information, you can always just send me an email. Contact me on Facebook, the Grip Board, whatever. But like I said, I'll be reaching out proactively to last year's promoters in the coming months.
Hey, Eric, thank you for giving us the event reveal. And yeah, no, I think it's an awesome lineup. Um, and it's tough because you're limited to four events, or you could host whatever you want, right? Or you could choose whatever you want. But keeping the format consistent, um, I think you've done a good job of that. And
This is
despite changing two of the events and everything else, I think this event lineup for the changes that are occurring are. I think it's possibly a better event lineup than last year. And not that last year was bad or anything. It's just, I don't know, from the Iron Mine pinch block to other things. This one kind of being a little bit different this year for it to be as different compared to the, past 3, 4 years. I
right.
think it's I don't know. I think it's an interesting lineup, but I think it's a lineup that works. So I'll
Yeah.
kind of just keep it short with that.
This
And
will
I
be
think
the
it's good.
fourth. This will be the 14th year in a row that we've hosted King Kong. The lineup changes every year, some to some degree. Um, Often it's just one event. Or in the early days, it like changed a lot. So I think it's easier now for promoters. If once you get in, the first year you promote, yes, there's a bit of an investment, but once you're in, from year to year, the costs are a lot more manageable. So just a lot of things I need to consider. I'm really happy that we were able to keep it going through the COVID years because I wasn't able to do that for arm wrestling tournaments. There was a 2 or 3 year break there. But yeah, starting in 2013, this is 2026, hoping it'll go much longer. So if you've never done King Kong before, get in on it. It is a lot of fun. It's, the closest thing you can get to a world championship without everyone being together, right? So um, hope everyone puts it on their calendar. Right now you have 10. It's 10 months away, so put it on your event calendar, and I hope to see everyone compete.
All right, Eric. Thanks for stopping by and giving us the info. And look forward to seeing the venues as they're announced. And yeah, we'll look forward to
Thanks.
seeing you guys compete at the 2026 King Kong International Grip Challenge. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Zach.